Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Keita Gaming and Fnatic.NA. This is going to be the lower bracket of WePlay's Dota 2 Cup here. It's going to be the group stage D in this phase 2. So deciding who are the last two individuals that are moving on into the next round, the playoffs, this stage, that they will actually be able to compete for the prize pool there. And in this position, obviously there can be two that move on forward. Right now, Team Liquid and Evil Geniuses battling out in the winners bracket. Here we have, in this lowers bracket, Keita Gaming going up against Fnatic.NA, and I think it's going to be an interesting matchup here. Both teams have interesting styles, and have taken what we saw Fnatic.NA take a game off of EG, so they're definitely up and kicking. Keita, we're also playing some interesting style in their game too, up against Liquid themselves. So it's going to be a fun matchup, and I myself, Blaze, am here to cast it up along with Vikramon. How's it going, man?
Hey man, it's going well. I was trying to keep my throat alive through this day of casting. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, both Keita and Fnatic, they weren't just rolled by their opponents. Fnatic won an extremely convincing game 2 over EG. In fact, they were solidly in the lead basically the entire game. And Keita, they really were never in the lead in either of their games with Team Liquid. But in the second one, they showed that if you don't take them seriously, then they can take it. And so these two teams basically playing for a second bite at the apple, a second chance to make it out of this group. TL and EG, obviously the heavy favorites, but showing some mistakes. And so, but to get there, to even have a shot, they need to get through their opponents here. So the best of 3 kicks off with Fnatic securing up that lone druid, critical pick, and really, no matter what, with this 2 first ban phase, you're going to get something you want. So for Keita, it's supports. For Fnatic, it's this core lone druid.
Exactly. So that's going to be enabling them to do a lot of different things. They love the multi-core lineups. They love to be able to go and proceed on forward with like a good solid off laner that can pick up some farm and dish out a lot of physical damage in the mid to late game, and then still pick up a core hero themselves on presumably Smurf, their carry player. He'll be able to just really dish out a lot of damage and build up pretty quickly. But as far as making it to the late game, Keita actually have a very, very solid draft already. Keeper Light and Bane both picked up here. This is very, very similar to what we saw Hype Gaming drafting up. Obviously, that's a Romania team compared to the Swedish team, but still kind of the same intentions as far as their priorities in the draft, picking up 2 great heroes in a tri-lane defensively, and they're going to be trying to shut down presumably the Darkseer, who would be running on the offlane. But that makes it, do you think this is going to be a core, like a number 1 lone druid? I mean, we have 3 heroes that love to have solo lanes.
Fnatic have done this before. There is also, let's not forget, there is the option of a tri-lane Darkseer. We do see that sometimes. I suspect it won't happen, and this will probably be a farming LD for Smurf. We've seen this coming from them before. But, I mean, they have a few options. But almost, yeah, most likely. The only issue for Fnatic that I see is they're going to have, like, definitely not their pick of the supports. Like, Keita Gaming can freely ban out 3 good support heroes here, and then Fnatic will be forced to essentially have subpar support for their lone druid, a hero who in the first place is not that dominant in the tri-lane, and Keita Gaming actually going for the throat with this PL pick too.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The Ezreal and the Lancer both got through as far as banning, so seeing this opportunity to pick up all 3 heroes, it's a little more difficult up against both Magnus and Darkseer. Darkseer adding in the Wall of Replica, which will steal one of those Phantom Lancer illusions, and on top of that, Magnus adding Empower on top of the Bear. Spirit Bear is going to be able to dish out a lot of damage in an AoE fashion, and even the biggest of Phantom Lancers can fall to the swings of that Spirit Bear if it gets big enough. But we'll have to see. Right now, Phantom Lancer is going to have a great start, and that's pretty much what he's looking for there. The Nightmare, Illuminate, Spirit Lance combo, it's really hard to deal with, and although they will have like some survivability options with the Darkseer Surge, it's still going to be extremely difficult to survive against that lane, and might force Darkseer into the jungle just outright.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult lane for him to survive in, and as a consequence, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, that comment about the tri-lane Darkseer was really dumb, because if they put I gotta call myself out here, shots fired, that if they put Lone Druid solo, he wouldn't be able to do anything against Bane. So
yeah, I know.
It's gotta be Darkseer on the offlane. So Fnatic makes perfect sense. They would take out mid options. I think the Puck basically the strongest option for Keita to go with against Magnus. So the Puck is gone. They may even take out another mid hero like Quap or TA or something. I wouldn't be too surprised. And meanwhile for Keita, they just take out supports. Shadow Demon was an absolutely critical ban for them. Really important to make sure that Fnatic doesn't score both Darkseer and Shadow Demon against this PL composition. And then the Chen ban, pretty strong as well. Take out that sort of additional push that Fnatic can bring.
Most definitely, most
They
definitely.
might even want to get Enchantress or Leshrac is the two good options here.
Yeah, it's really,
Actually,
really scary.
Lesh, definitely.
It's scary to see this much push coming out. I mean, you're not going to have to worry about something like a Juggernaut with these kinds of lanes and these kind of picks already coming out, but you still
Right.
have to worry about all the supportive push-oriented heroes, and so there's a lot on the
Lesh.
field, and a Leshrac is definitely one that they have to look to take off. I mean, if they had like a Leshrac and a Jakiro, they could burn down towers very quickly with the right skill builds.
Forget Jakiro, man. If they had Leshrac, they should go for the no Tidehunter Ogre Magi strat.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Because Ogre Magi is an amazing setup stun for Leshrac. I'm not even kidding.
No,
The
I agree with
Bloodlust on
you.
the Bear is good. Yeah.
Bloodlust is amazing on Lone Druid, and from there, you just go to town. You have great steroids for the Spirit Bear to cleave away and just rock those towers quickly, and then, of course, you have 100% a Fire Blast into a Split Earth easy. But it's a completely different draft. They still have to get through 2 picks and decide if that's what the route they want to take. But I definitely think that the more pressure, more momentum they build up by bringing down towers early gives them that gold advantage that they can actually sock into Phantom Lancer before it gets too big.
Completely. Make it unsafe for PL to farm, because Doppelwalk is an escape mechanism, but it's an escape mechanism that other teams can deal with. You absolutely want to be pushing early, constricting the space in which Phantom Lancer can farm, which Magalev can farm, because Magalev's farm was one of the better aspects of Keita Gaming's games both times. So if they can really put a lot of pressure on that Phantom Lancer, I think they have a severe advantage. And I would really love to see Leshrac here, because it does buff out their push so much. I think it's the best support option in the pool remaining. They have other options. I just can't see anything that's as good as Lesh. They could go with Lesh Enchantress, or they could go with Lesh Ogre Magi. I still think is super real. They have a bunch of good options, Fnatic, I feel. And I really do think that adding some more push to their lineup is the way to go.
Definitely a lot of possibilities there, but right now with the Shen band out, it'll be a little bit more difficult to figure it out. I mean, when you don't have that Shadow Demon or Rubik available to set up a Leshrac, it's a lot harder to draft up a Leshrac here and be comfortable with that kind of decision. So
Over Magi, son.
you have to be deciding your 5th pick along with your 4th pick, or random. No, they
Okay.
get it out with 1 second left on reserve time, and I think Shadow Demon definitely adds in what they're looking for to a great extent. I love not only the fact that he can Serpent Ward down towers pretty quickly when he does hit 6, but also the fact that he can instantly hex a Bane to cancel out a Fiend's Grip can completely change how a teamfight plays out.
I like the SS. They still have the option of a Leshrac. They also have the option of a support Gyrocopter, which would give no push, but Shadow Shaman Gyro Lone Druid is going to kill absolutely anybody going to that lane. And, yeah, I think probably Lesh would still be good, because he does pair with Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman provides that setup stun, with the downside being that, of course, Shadow Shaman has to walk all the way over. But this gives them additional push. If SS hits 6, we sometimes see Shadow Shamans have difficulty hitting level 6. For Keita, they need a mid and an off lane. I would like to see the clock, and Brew for the mid I like. This gives some disable. You can lift up the bear inside of the Cyclone, which takes it out for very, very long periods of time. And I don't know. Do you think there's a better side lane option than Clock?
I mean, the Clockwork I don't feel really would accomplish all that much. Like, Clock is really great at pinning. Actually, now they pick up the Nature's Prophet, I might have to negate that sentiment. But, yeah, really in this situation, but prior to that Nature's Prophet pickup, if you single out a single here, if you get a good ultimate on the Darkseer or the Magnus or something, and you put them in the cogs, you're not really going for, oh my gosh, you just picked that guy off, you are totally breaking apart the team fight. They'll still be able to maneuver, cast their abilities, not the way they'd prefer to, but I just don't think that it's gonna... Clockwork in general is a hero that breaks apart team fights really well with the cogs, and singles out a single person to put in a bad spot and keep them there. But I don't feel like Fnatic is gonna suffer too much if they have most of their core heroes locked down in one position.
Well, I mean, they could pick off the Shadow Shaman very, very easily for one. And that takes out almost all of their hard disable, with the sole exception of the RP. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I actually think Fnatic, this Nature's Prophet pick is very bold, and I would almost say a little bit greedy, because with the Nature's Prophet, they run the risk of just having their tri-lane overwhelmed in a 3 vs 3 situation. Now, Coddle Bane Phantom Lancer is very typically run on the safe lane, but if Keita do put the 3v3, I don't know how Shadow Shaman, Lone Druid, Nature's Prophet will do against it.
Yeah, it's hard to say in that situation. As far as the Cloaker's Shadow Shaman, I'm interested to see if like you could actually get Shadow Shaman high enough level that he could Serpent Ward and kind of catch out Clockwork and just put this like a big cluster of little doodads here and there.
Right.
But
They can go Windrunner is what I was about to say, and so that's a perfectly fine option. Actually, after I saw the Nature's Prophet, I was leaning way more towards the Windrunner. This gives them another stun. It gives them good disables overall, and Windrunner is going to be quite safe in that lane as well. I mean, given how slow Shadow Shaman moves, you'll know approximately a month before he comes to get the kill that he's going, and you can just take several steps back or even pop the Windrun.
Yeah. In this position here, the one thing I'm worried about for Keita Gaming is getting their Keeper Light fast enough levels. The Windrunner has good in power shot. She'll be able to counter push a little bit here and there, but when it comes down to it, the Keeper Light needs to be at a significant level before the Shadow Shaman hits 6, because otherwise that Illuminate is not going to be as much of a factor in that counter push, and that's going to start giving advantages to Fnatic.
Right. I would love to see Keita run the aggressive try and then Windrunner against the Darkseer solo. In fact, I don't know. I think they should do that, no question, because the thing about Fnatic's lineup is they have to run Lone Druid and Shadow Shaman in the safe lane. They're not going to mind games you by running them top. Like, that would be a bad idea, because then F4L... Well, actually, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could run them top.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing a lot back and forth. I caught a little bit of what their game was, their game 3 versus EG, and it did seem like they were kind of maneuvering specifically based on the lanes that they expected to come out of Evil Geniuses. They didn't necessarily just want to go for the default, hey, these guys go defensive, these guys go offensive, but looked into the enemy lineup, looked at where they were going to be, and tried to respond appropriately. So that's still something that Fnatic can easily accomplish here. But these rosters are a little bit unknown to a lot of people, and honestly, I could kind of use a refresher myself, so why don't we cover the roster real quick?
Sure. So, Fnatic, team that recently had a pretty big roster change. I guess it's not that recent anymore. About 2.5 months ago, Fnatic got rid of most of their old team and then basically built a new team around Smurf, who is on the name Smully on this Lone Druid. So this is their pretty standard lineup. I'm not sure about who Keep Boston and Keep Boston in Your Prayers is. Who is that?
That's the only one that I did not know, honestly. I know Mojo Stormstout, F4L, they're great.
It's fun. It's Kype EE, or Fun. This is their standard roster. They don't have any stand-ins, so they got him on the Shadow Shaman, F4L playing the Nature's Prophet. Hannah Montana is probably the most famous person on this team. He was in Complexity. He was on their TI2 team. He's been a sort of good off-lane player for a while in the scene, and this is now his new team. And then MSS, Mojo, he's a little newer, but he's actually, if anything, been Fnatic's star player in the teams I've seen, in the games I've seen where they've won. So he's one to watch on this Magnus as well.
Yeah, Mojo Stormstout, really, really solid mid player. And F4L also receiving an honorable mention. He's been playing supportive mostly, but he'll be able to probably do work with his Nature's Prophet. Just needs to get his farm going. We have seen Keita play in their previous match versus Liquid, so we know them pretty well. Steph Style picking up the Keeper of the Light. We have Flox going the off lane, Windrunner. We do have Cizo on that Brewmaster, Maglev Gank Train, going to be running out on the Phantom Lancer, and then, of course, Frigolite supporting up on the Bane. For the moment, heading down towards the bottom lane, going to put out some wards and get some control in the jungle. But I really don't feel like they're going to be there to stay if they want to get some good experience on the supports, because they need to start neutral pulling.
Yeah, true, but my only... I'm starting to think, what if they just run, like, farming Windrunner aggressive and Phantom Lancer solo safe? And just waste the neutral pulls with Illuminate.
Yeah, the one thing I really like about that is that they, by committing F4L to the jungle, they have weakened their lane substantially. I mean, a single Shadow Shaman and a single Lone Druid. Lone Druid has great lane presence, but because he has so much on his shoulders, being a #1 hero, he has to get a lot of farm early on for this lineup to work. He has to get to his level 7, to his level 8 very, very quickly, and kind of be able to follow that up with some great items on the bear, and Armlet would be instrumental. So if they can shut that down, if they put all this pressure out here, I could see this working amazingly. And even if they go for like the standard combo of Nightmare into Illuminate, she'll be able to add on a good Shackle because you have plenty of time to set that up yourself. So
exactly. The only thing I don't love about this is I don't know how good Phantom Lancer is 1v1 against Darkseer compared to Windrunner, because he will cop quite a bit of harassment. So I would maybe have liked to see this as the PL-based tri-lane rather than the Windrunner-based tri-lane. Also, Chakra for Spirit Lance is a little better than Chakra for Power Shot. Yeah. But I still think it's good, and the nice thing here is if this pays off, there's bigger upside, because the PL gets farm, and the runner gets farm, and you win the tri-lane, and Keeper of the Light gets XP by stealing Illuminate. It's a more risky play, but it's one that could pay off really well.
Initial movements from the Spirit Bearer, though, make me feel that this is going to be actually a little bit more difficult for Keita than they previously had intended. If they pull out the creep wave like this, just kind of playing it like they would in the offlane, then manipulation of creep aggro pulls it behind the tier 1, and from there, wow, failing the name, Smurf is going to be able to farm it up very, very quickly, and yeah, find great opportunities to just keep his farm going, and even completely ignoring the fact that he's up against a 3-man tri-lane.
That was really nice, actually, what they did there. I really like this reverse creep skip that this bear did here. Really smart. I think Keita will eventually figure out how to punish this, but for now, it's very useful. And meanwhile, just check out how much time Fun is spending waiting for this first blood. I don't know that he's going to get this, though, on Sizzo.
Yeah.
Sizzo. What are we calling him? Kaizo? Sizzo?
Sizzo, I guess. I don't know.
Sizzo? I'm going to go with Sizzo. So... I just don't know. I feel like the Shadow Shaman, he's going to try to get the Courier, actually. But the Courier hasn't even moved yet.
Yeah,
they're going to buy this bottle. This will still be worth it if it comes out right now and he gets the kill.
But he's walking across. He's envisioned. There's no way that they're going to let that walk right up to him anymore. That's
really weird that he made that motion. If they find out, I don't think they know. Okay, they pinged.
Yeah, they definitely do. They pinged defensively on the Courier. They had vision of him and full just walking on through the lane. I mean, you can't just not notice a Shadow Shaman in the middle of your friggin' map.
That's brutal. That's so much time completely wasted for him. Hannah Montana, meanwhile, doing creep skips. I am concerned about this top lane still for Maglev. Like, I feel like Darkseer could eventually just get a kill here, and especially Fun. He does have Ether Shock, but still, this is going to be even more damage thrown onto Maglev. He's going to have his Tranquils fairly soon, but he's kind of vulnerable right now, actually.
Even so, the level 1 Ether Shock, he's going to be able to take away half his current HP, but he's going to be able to get on out of there, no problem.
Yeah.
So he will just salve up, and honestly, the Ether Shock isn't going to contribute much, because I think Shadow Shaman's going to be sitting on level 2 for a little bit longer, and that's going to be kind of frustrating for them. On bottom lane, we do see a rotation from the supports, Frigolite and Steph Style, looking to actually put some pressure on the mid. There is that Courier going up with the boots and the bottle itself. And they could be moving in that direction, but for right now, they are just going to block off that easy camp. So trying to make sure that that's not going to be farmed up by the Furion. And from there, F4L is up on the top lane instead. They're actually putting a lot of push pressure on the top already by creep skipping up via Hannah Montana's Iron Shell.
Yeah, now 3 on the top, so Fnatic are really seeking to constrict this lane, while the opposite happens in bottom. I mean, Smurf is only level 2. He's going to find some XP now, but still quite a bit of pressure thrown out on him so far. And then Maglev, I'm still a little bit concerned. There's 3 people here gunning for him.
Yeah,
He's still farming under tower. Rotation's coming.
Okay, Bane TP coming on in, but they're actually going to take that as an opportunity to put some damage on into Frigolite. Nice Nightmare coming on through. The Ether Shock did hit on Frigo, but yeah, they're not really locking anybody in place just yet. But out of mana, Maglev has to watch himself, but Frigolite's in a terrible spot. He has like 8,000 creeps on him. The Ether Shock will come on through, but the right click's not just yet. FRL does get shacked up, but it's only rank 1. We do see Illuminate come on through, but not hitting on too much. FRL actually does get struck, and with this power shot, no, gonna miss unfortunately. But everybody dropping low, they have successfully forced them back, and the way this transition worked itself out makes it so that they get to back to where they wanted to be initially, which is a defensive tri-lane where they're not concerned about push. And
this cost Keita a lot, though. They moved away. They moved the entire tri-lane over. Keeper of the Light is still level 1. I mean, so is Shadow Shaman, but I actually think Keita having Coddle at level 1 is worse for them than Shadow Shaman being at level 1 is for Fnatic, at least so far. And Steph Style, oh man, he might be at level 1 for a long time if he gulps to death here. Okay, he's fine, but
yeah,
and all this time, Smurf was completely free, because he's the one person who didn't rotate over. So he's level 4 now. He's doing fine.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. An unorthodox laning setup, and this is kind of what I was talking about when I first saw the aggressive tri-lane heading on bottom, is the supports aren't going to get that neutral farm. So unless they're getting kills, they're not getting anything. And in this sense, since there's no first blood spilled just yet, yeah, the Keeper Light is low level, now going for an easy camp, actually just farming it away with a single Illuminate and some right clicks here. But they didn't stack for Frigolite, so that's going to continuously spawn, but they're just so far behind, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to make up lost ground.
Absolutely. Now in the mid, we do see Sizzo actually winning this lane a little bit. He's slightly ahead of where MSS is, but RP is now up. MSS, by the way, doing the very smart thing when you're up against like melee versus melee. Getting the Empower first for Mag is actually very strong, because it gives you that little bit of essentially free harass, because it's so cheap to cast. And, I mean, it makes last hitting a little easier, too, for that matter. Floxplox, unfortunately, now that Smurf is 7, this is no longer such an easy lane for a Windrunner.
Yeah.
He can freely harass her, and she has to always be concerned about the possibility of Entangle.
Smurf is 5, but yeah, I definitely know what you're
That's what I'm
talking
saying.
So he has Orb of Venom. He can put boots on the bear and then be alive. So if there was a level 7 Lone Druid, they'd have a lot more things to worry about.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I meant the bear. I was looking at the bear, so I said 7.
Yeah.
I obviously meant 5.
I'm not exactly sure why they put that number on the bear, but, you know, whatever.
I'm an idiot. I meant 5. It's just a slip of the tongue.
It's cool, it's cool. Soul Ring coming out for Phantom Lancer. What do you think about picking up a Soul Ring with a Keeper of the Light on your lineup?
Well, I think they don't expect this Coddle to always be here. So
True.
If anybody comes back to this lane, he wants to be able to harass them out. The issue here is not the Keeper of the Light, in my opinion. It's that Fnatic already left. Like, who exactly are you going to Soul Ring? Considering nobody's going to be in that lane except in a teamfight context. It would be great if he had it while Darkseer was still 1v1ing him. Now I just think its time has passed.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really good in those first 3 minutes, and now, Maglev, although he is currently mana shy a little bit, it's not really making that big of an impact. They are putting some pressure out, and not only farming underneath the tower, but willing to go toe-to-toe with Hannah Montana. But these Iron Shells are coming out. They're going to do a lot of damage if they try to overstay their welcome here. So in this kind of position, Hannah Montana is going to find a lot of gold from the creeps, going to be able to AoE those waves down and hold the line on the tower. So although he is here to cop that damage if the lances start flying, I think he's going to be still in a very fortified position right next to this tier 1 for quite some time.
So that full rotation from Keita earlier, where they all went top to sort of stop the tier 1 push, actually cost them a lot, and I think we're feeling the after effects of it now, which is that it sort of messed up their game plan, it rotated people over.
Looking for first blood on Windrunner.
No, Courier.
They got everything here. They're going to go and get the RP. No, not committing it. Oh my goodness, they let her Windrun away.
They canceled it, though.
Yeah,
they
I know.
Lose the RP.
I know that, but I mean, they really wanted first blood there, and I think that was, if they had just RP'd the second the skewer finished, they would have easily had her.
Yeah, I agree, but they did decide to cancel it. It was a bit of a mistake, but like I said, the fact that Floxplox left took him from ahead of Lone Druid to behind Lone Druid. And all of a sudden, they're losing this bottom tower.
Shackle's coming on out. They actually are going to go for it this time around, not making the same mistake. Same mistake. Mojo Storm Stout didn't have skewer available. This problem, it was off cooldown, on cooldown, so couldn't connect and couldn't close the distance. Coming on through, a full rotation once again. Level 3 Coddle, the level 4 Bane, and most importantly, that Primal Split up and available. Shadow Shaman in a bad spot. The Illuminate does come on through. The first blood goes on a Step Style first, but Windrunner falls as well. Reverse Polarity dropping down on Cizo. He will not be able to ulti. No, he got the magic wand. Here comes that split. Dropping down some damage here. He will go for Smurf and try to burst him down quickly. Not sure about the Dispel, but that stun and the nukes. Gonna be able to bring this down. And they turn this around for 2 right now, looking for a third. And the Soul Ring is on cooldown, so they're gonna have to just right-click it down. And it looks like that's just going to be just accomplished. Oh my gosh, they can't get through. They can finally get the Quelling Blade. Oh goodness, that was close. Maglev getting the Quelling Blade off and right-clicking on through to finish off the Prophet. An attempt to skewer him to the southeast, but Maglev just moving on away.
The skewer would have killed him with the skewer damage, but good play there to actually keep that Phantom Lancer alive and get some kills. Really good. They get the Arcane Boots up.
Prophet closing in.
Ooh, actually trouble.
Cizo, he has Tangos, so I don't think he's in a bad spot.
Yeah, it's okay. Alright. Weird fight, and they end up having to rotate the PL over, but hey, you picked off the Lone Druid, you got some kills. Not the end of the world for Keita in the end, even though they did give away First Blood and the follow-up kill.
Yeah. One big problem with Smurf was not running in his true form. He was running in his Druid form and doesn't have as much HP or armor to tank up, so when they started focusing him down with the Primal Split, they really just socked it to him really, really quickly. A single Spirit Lance and Earth Panda Stun, he was a few right clicks away from death at that stage, and that was just too early. However, they're starting off with the momentum shift of the tower kills, and I think this is definitely favorable for them.
Yeah, I think Keita in an okay shape with the problem that Fnatic, they do get the tower there. They're sort of building up a gold advantage. F4L's going to go Midas, which I don't know what I think of it exactly, but actually it'll be fast enough if they just get this tower. And right now Keita, they haven't rotated anybody over yet. They're sort of looking for the trade. Losing a tier 2 tower here shouldn't be underestimated. It would actually be a big pain in the ass.
That's a nice move there, actually. Smurf eating the disable of the Nightmare on himself by getting they slept the bear, and then he woke the bear up with himself. Actually, we do see, no, I mean, they're not going to be able to connect, unfortunately. They can't get vision, they can't get the disable, so not going to find the kills. But yeah, what ended up happening with Smurf was slept, his bear was slept, and he actually used the Druid to take it off. So the Druid slept, but the bear was the one dealing the demolish damage. And yeah, big pickoff on Sizo mid. Just needs one more shockwave to come on out. 1 second away, and there it goes. Canceling out the Nature Prophet TP, knowing it was completely unnecessary. They did commit another reverse polarity for it, but very, very well worth it in that circumstance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's completely fine to use it right there. This opens up the possibility of them even pushing this tier 1 mid. I mean, you see Fun using his Ether Shock there just to clear it out. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit of pressure on this tower. Probably not a kill. But at this point, I think Fnatic just feeling fairly comfortable that there's not much Keita can do to punish their decisions. Like, you see them going for these punishes, and it's just not happening. Especially that Windrunner gank top just didn't really pan out.
So yeah, pushing on in, the Lone Druid's going to get bigger and bigger. As far as the tower last hit, that was to the Lone Druid, so yeah, Smurf is going to be able to pick up some pretty big items. It kind of looks like, yeah, he's going for the phase boots, and then he'll probably move in towards Armlet, and that'll be pretty good for him. Along with that, a big deal is that Mojo Stormstat has been not only getting that kill by himself, he has gotten 2 kills total, and he got the gold from that tower, meaning that he is only like 500 gold away from that Blink Dagger, and once he gets that on the field, he can get some really powerful lockdowns.
That's going to be a very timely Blink, whereas if you look towards Sizo, he's not even, like, beginning his Blink. He's at 150 gold, like, nowhere near being able to actually score up that Blink Dagger, which is very good for Brewmaster. I mean, it gives him a lot of initiation and counter-initiation potential.
Most definitely. So, beyond that here, let's see, we do have not really too much coming out as far as big items. They're still just farming away, doing things slowly. It looks like that is going to be the Midas up for F4L, so he's going to be in a good position where he can actually start moving in towards kind of a semi-carry profit, get a lot of good gold, a lot of good experience. I personally would prefer the Necro 3, but there's nothing stopping him from actually turning that gold that he acquires from it into a big item like that.
I actually like the semi-carry Prophet here a little more than I would like the Necro 3 Prophet. I think with their lineup, they don't actually have incontrovertible early push, especially considering Fun is going to be behind on levels for a long time. So I think having another damage source besides the Bear, which will get Enfeebled, which will get Nightmared, etc., is going to be useful for them in the long run.
Sure.
Even something like Mjolnir, I don't think, for like fake cleave damage would be a miss.
Nature Prophet takes the last hit on the tower, looking for some damage on Stefsov, but here comes Sizo doing a lot of damage, and yeah, helping out the Bane, able to burst that down. Smurf. So they're looking for that opportunity. The Bear taking a lot of hits, but it looks like Smurf is not going to be locked down, so just the Bear. And in that position, they're able to escape with only 1 death, and they take the tower.
That's actually really favorable for Fnatic.NA. They waste Keita's time again because Keita makes another big rotation,
including
where they
with
just
the Phantom.
don't arrive in time to actually change it.
And they didn't just rotate supports; they rotated the Phantom Lancer himself. So gave up a very safe position farming away. He's still finding farm down on bottom, but it's still, I mean, getting him out of his comfort zone, keeping him moving, and in that kind of position, he's gonna lose at least some gold as a result.
Right. Fnatic doing a good job. They get a second outer tower. I actually think they should try to get more outer towers. The bottom lane is the least... Well, actually, they're doing that.
Yeah, right now, as you say it.
This top tier 1 is way more important than both of these tier 1 and 2 on the bottom. Because the bottom lane is not that punishable for Radiant, but if you can start getting into that dire jungle and really oppressing them there, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly. Much more control over the map as a whole. And they're going to be able to move on forward now that they have the Blink Dagger on Magnus, plus 500 gold to boot. He is farmed up like crazy, and 13 minutes in, this is the timing of a really well-timed Blink where you can actually make some big things happen. They're even smoking on just the Shadow Shaman and the Magnus, but as long as that Magnus is part of it, he's going to be the one that can initiate unexpectedly on individuals that should not be clustering up.
Absolutely. We see PL moving towards Diffusal, but not tremendously quickly.
Yeah, never mind about that smoke. They immediately dispel it. So honestly, like all they did was walk Brewmaster slightly closer to them, and suddenly they're like, "Oh, never mind." So waste of time there. But they're turtling the lineup here. It's difficult because of the slow siege of the Keeper of the Light, but they're holding their ground. And in this kind of position, they're always willing to go for a team fight. I think they should actually be looking for a pickoff on Maglev. Right now, he's in a very vulnerable position, and I think he knows it. Moving on away with that doppelwalk, he's going to be heading out to a completely different location.
Huh. By the way, Friggo lead is actually smoked, so they may try to generate something. They really, I think, need this mechanism on Floxplox, and they're getting close-ish. He needs about 600 more. Actually, here we go.
Yeah, just a TP coming in for the Phantom Lancer, and Smurf is in a terrible spot. Still very tanky, but the Shackle will come on through. It's rank 3, and from there they will get this kill. So really good for them. Actually, not shackling just yet, but I guess they just want to right-click it. I mean, it's not, I guess, the most necessary thing. Either way.
So.
There was no reason not to commit it, and I agree on that.
I guess they were waiting just in case he tried to TP to immediately respond to it, which is fine. I think that's fine.
Whatever. Anyways, 400 gold away from Mechanism for Windrunner as a result of that kill, and yeah, that's getting a little bit of extra farm on that Windrunner is definitely helping that out quite a bit. They put out some pressure on the bottom lane early, and although they did have to unfortunately rotate, Floxbox is still doing a lot better than generally you would consider him when you were looking at the fact that he was kind of in a 1 versus 2 situation. He found a lot of farm, and now he's going to be able to add in a lot of utility to the team.
Absolutely. And they've begun their own mechanism. So actually, Darkseer, Hannah Montana is a little behind where Floxbox is, but not that substantial.
Actually,
it's going to be tough for Keita to actually take the advantageous position. Did he finish it, actually?
Yeah, he just finished it out.
He's done.
One of the recipes, the first recipe he had there was actually the mech recipe itself, so that's easy to mistake for the 200
for
one.
some reason the headdress recipe or something.
Sure, that's understandable given you don't usually buy the mechanism recipe into the very last item.
Not usually. Yeah, but, I mean, good for them. That actually, it won't matter because they're going to earn it before the next fight. Like, Windrunner's done with hers as well. So, basically even in terms of mech timing. And any time that you can match a Darkseer for mech timing is a time that you're happy. Exactly. The problem is, across all their heroes, Fnatic have just a lot of people farming. The only person not farming is Fun, but you can see that just on the last hits, it's Maglev, and then every single member of Fnatic besides Fun.
Yeah, that's actually impressive. They got a really nice spread. I mean, of course, a lot of profits are going to be from the jungle, which is less effective. Oh my gosh, Fun taking a lot of hits. Forcing out the mech right there, just from that Illuminate alone. That is pretty painful. What, is that rank 3? Yeah, okay. So starting out another one, that's going to do even more damage to Creep Wave. Oh, Fun has to avoid this one here, but they actually go in for an attempt on the Blink Skewer, dodging out the Illuminate. He blinks over top of the wave and tries to go in for a kill. We do see a Nightmare coming out, and here is the Windrunner trying to make something happen. They do have another Illuminate charging up. Will hit on almost everyone, hitting out and a half. Nice Shackle coming out on to Smurf and onto the Shadow Shaman. Big wall, big return with the reverse polarity though, and unfortunately the Magnus will not survive, but still setting up a lot of damage potential here. Will they be able to actually get anything out of this though? 2 buybacks, one from the Brewmaster who has not split just yet. Here comes Cizo looking for initiation, but here's Mojo Stormstout in as well. Cizo needs to pop his Primal Split if he wants to actually make a big impact, and there he goes. Mojo Stormstout gonna fall a second time, I believe, if they can get this stun off. They did not Earth Panda stun. For the life of me, I don't know why, but
weird.
Nevertheless, they pull up. I guess he focused on Hannah Montana pulling him out of it, and now they can focus him down pretty hard. He will be able to bring down the Darkseer, so that's nice for them, but I think they could have brought down the Magnus the second time.
Yes. I think they definitely could have. They might get tower, but this is weird. There was such a big ult interplay there, by the way. There was a big RP and then an even bigger immediate Fiend's Grip in response to the RP, and then immediate Vacuum in response to the Fiend's Grip.
Oh, wow. Big damage coming out on Fun. He got hit by the full Illuminate again. This was a rank 4 Illuminate, and then rank 4 Brain Sap. That's like his entire health pool.
And Shadow Shaman's a weak, like, he's very low HP, and Maglev is behind their lines, just picking people off. Nice Thunderclap on the bear, by the way. This is what I'm talking about. This is why they actually need F4L to do good damage too, because the Panda is going to be Drunken Hazed, Thunderclapped, Cycloned, Spirit Lance. They're going to use everything on this Panda, and so they need a plan B, basically.
Yeah, until the bear gets MKB, he's not going to be doing all that considerable damage, and it's going to be difficult. The Brewmaster, I mean, Emerald Bulldog has talked about this quite a bit, but Brewmaster is one of the best counters for Lone Druid. With the Drunken Haze, you don't go BKB on the bear, and of course the other disables like the Tornado and the Earth Stun, everything can lock it in place where it can't do the damage it would prefer to, and that really limits it as far. And of course it just can't bring down the Brewmaster himself because he's going to evade, he's going to dodge out all those strikes, he's going to slow down his attack speed. It's just...
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just a nightmare for him, but big Illuminate coming on out. F4L gets shackled up, Brain Sapped on through. This is what I'm talking about, these big burst combos. We do see another Wall of Replica coming out on Cizo. It might be enough to finish him off. The Mechanism keeping him up for the moment. Oh, he barely gets out. Bottles away with that haste inactive, and he will survive. On the other hand, Fiend's Grip, Shackle, and Montana, Mojo Storm, he's going for a skewer away, trying to get out of there, and he will. But nevertheless, a second pickoff. They're so good at these long-range pickoffs. Keita really socking it to them where they overextend slightly, or they're just holding their ground and not pushing forward. And every single second that's the case, their cooldowns come back and they just keep on firing away.
Yo, Blaze, I gotta say, Earth to teams playing against Keita after these last 2 games, don't 5v5 them. Like, it just seems like a really bad idea. And Fnatic can comfortably split push. They're like a pushing composition. They have Nature's Prophet and Lone Druid. Do what your heroes were meant to do, folks.
They also have a great teamfight composition. They also have a Darkseer and a Magnus. They have and a Shadow Shaman. They have a great teamfight composition too. It's just hard to make those decisions.
I mean, I agree, But time and time again, we're just seeing that Keita can sort of outfight a lot of teams. Even TL sort of, they were way ahead and they still ran into the brick wall of not being able to out-teamfight these guys.
Yeah.
I think it's just their strength. Like, their laning phases has not been great. Oh, Friggle in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he should be dead here. Just a single entangle is all they need. They're actually just going to skewer it and get the entangle proc to make sure it doesn't work out for the Bane. But these illuminates from Ezreal every single time. We see like a full wave of Treants from the Nature's Prophet. We see everybody gearing up for a push, and then suddenly 3 heroes lose half their life, all the creeps die, and you're like, well, that's Ezreal for you. And it's just really, really painful because they don't really have much ground to stand on. We were talking about how they should take the outer tier 1s because they're so easy, but they're standing their ground. They're putting their feet in, and they're not actually budging on this position here. Just keeping Ezreal camped is completely sufficient for them to hold the line here.
Right, and the combination of Power Shot and Illuminate just does incredible damage to a bunch of heroes who are still at fairly low health. I mean, Darkseer is tanky, but Shadow Shaman is the opposite of tanky. I mean, he's holding on to basically just support items and boots. So, and meanwhile, Maglev farms away. He's got 1650. I would expect him to grab up that Yasha before anything else, and that'll be quite useful for him as well.
Yeah, and as they continue to buy time and give room for Maglev to farm and for that of the rest of the team, we see Cizo I thought he equaled out on the initiation potential. He picked up a Blink Dagger, but apparently sold it right back, so I'm not sure if he has something else planned for us.
I don't think they need Blink on this brew. Okay, he buys it again. So he just wanted it from the side shop instead of wasting courier time. Sure. Okay, it's still good. I mean, jump in, Thunderclap, pop your ult is going to be solid at all stages of the game.
Yeah, no, it's a great utility for them. They honestly don't have that much initiation unless they get the Bane in a very, very good position. Even then, the Bane could benefit from it. But yeah, in this position here, they already have the ability to just push, counter push away and make sure that they're not having to be pressured too hard. And as a result, now things are more on their terms. They can go on in, get a big blink clap, and pop off that ultimate and dish out a ton of damage. And of course, having a double damage rune will help them continue to just dish it out really, really quickly. So now they are going to be looking for an engagement, and I really think if Fnatic isn't as 5, that Keita could just pick them apart.
I think Keita want to take it slow, frankly. They're not being victimized by any sort of pushing just yet. The PL's farming well. He just stacked Ancients for himself and cleared them out very quickly. And he finishes that Yasha. They are actually in the neighborhood of starting that, like Floxplox is on 2.3 gold, 2.3k. That could be a sheepstick, and that'll be a big deal.
Yeah. I think tier 2 boots might be something she has to look into prior to that, but, you know, it's a Windrunner, so she can pretty much do whatever she wants.
Yeah. So. Nah, just don't even forget tier 2 boots. Just get sheepstick.
Sell the regular boots. Free gold, you know?
Yeah. Alright, well, I wouldn't quite go that far. But I do think he can make something before he does that.
So
Armlet done on Smurf plus 2.4k gold. So this bear will get pretty significant. They're going to have Empower for it. An empowered bear with Armlet is no joke for pushing. The only problem I see with it is it's going to get enfeebled, and that'll take out a lot of its damage. Now, you can see he's 4-4-1. I really like this. I think the max enfeeble quickly against bear is fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually going to help him out quite a bit. It's difficult on his mana pool, and he's going to have to... But that's the big thing about Chakra Magic rank 4. Keep it light. You usually see him keep it on 2 or 3 for a while, but with such a mana-hungry team, he's like just handing it out, and making sure that everybody is topped off and ready to go, so that Frigolite can use his full component of spells multiple times over, and that's going to be really, really powerful for them. So that's pretty much their intention, is just to always make sure that Frigolite has mana to work with.
Do you see this bait? I don't know if Fnatic are going to fall for this, but they've got 3 smoked heroes positioned like all around the map. Unfortunately, Floxplox's smoke died, but that was funny. They had Brew on the high ground with Blink. It was like Robin Hood's knights waiting in ambush. Like Floxplox down here, and then the 2 supports here and Brew here. So like if you go in here, you just get a volley of arrows on you. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but that would have been funny. Yeah. I mean, we've seen those baits work before. We most definitely have. But in Keita's case, I think it was on the. I'm actually trying to remember which one it was, where there was just this hyper bait that didn't work out. I think it was yesterday, actually. Big initiation, though. We do see Primal Split. There is going to be that Fiend's Grip on the Magnus. Can they bring down Mojo before it's relevant? The Orchid comes out on the Bane, but F4L still going to get locked down. Big Shackle coming on through. F4L going to fall as well. And this couldn't have gone worse for Fnatic, honestly. They didn't waste the Reverse Polarity. They still have that up and running, but they have lost 2 key heroes, and now the buyback comes through from Ezreal. He's willing to jump on in and actually counter-push down on the bottom lane, which actually has been dropping very, very quickly. The bear takes the tower down to 1 hit from death.
And that's definitely very, very big gains for Fnatic, all things considered.
Right. They lose the fight. I mean, you lose the battle, try to win the war, right? And like I said, split pushing is the right call for them at this point. They're not going to earn complete map control, and they can't even really try. But what they can do is threaten, and especially this bottom lane that they cleared out so early. So very good play from Smurf. The problem is I don't see Fnatic winning the next couple of fights either. I really think Keita are doing a good job of coordinating these fights. Phantom Lancer will finish his Manta style right now as well.
That's
and
gonna help.
Force staff before tier 2 boots, so there you go.
Yep, so that'll work out very, very nicely, and gives a lot of mobility and great opportunities for some really cool shackles, and just really diversifying the potential for that hero, actually opening windows that of opportunity that they definitely wouldn't have otherwise. It's a great item in general. Of course, it doesn't provide as many base stats as before, but still going to set things up. The Orchid up on the Nature's Prophet will be great up against the Bane. And it is pretty solid against the Brewmaster as well, making sure they can't cast his Primal Split. Attempting for that ultimate, or the skewer not going to work out, but they do catch out Cizo. Full shackle coming out, they reverse polarity on top of that, big damage coming out underneath the wall. Replica Frigo does get a full ultimate from the Bane, but nevertheless they bring him down, and the only one to walk away from that is the Phantom Lancer. Windrunner wasn't involved whatsoever, looking maybe to try to find some damage, at least some counter push here, but just walking by. What is that? Just say, hey, how's it going, guys?
Here that can kill him.
Sure.
The issue here is Smurf. He's split pushing again. He got the tier 2. He's about to do damage to another tier 3. Yeah,
doing a lot right here, but he doesn't have Bury Summon for 20 seconds, so he is actually committing its full HP pool. We see TP's coming on in. First a shackle onto Smulling himself. They burn down the bear, which will do a nuke to him, and then they're both going to fall right here. He sacrificed himself for a full tier 3, but here is Serpent Wards. I don't think those were really beneficial.
It's fine. They're buying time for this Rax.
Oh, down bottom. Okay. Yeah, they do get that damage going on in. They get the TP out successfully of the Nature's Prophet, and the Treant's just wailing away. And even though the HP will be regenerated, it will take its time, and that is a lot of damage they can really, really benefit from long term.
And the mid tier 2 down as well. I actually think this was fantastic from Fnatic. They get 2 tier 3s down and clear out the remaining outer tower. I mean, they used those 3 kills they got to great effect. Sometimes you just get 3 kills and nothing happens, but in this case they get 3 kills, and now these lanes are in danger forever because you have a Nature's Prophet. He can appear there whenever he wants. Oh, FRL, he will take a... Oh, no detection. Yeah, fortunately for him, the carrier's not going to be generally running that himself, so in that situation he's going to be perfectly fine. But yeah, no, it's very, very difficult for Keita. They're going to move in for the Roche and try to get an Aegis, and possibly just try to push as 5 faster than the Lone Druid can, or the Nature's Prophet can counter push through either backdoor protection or just around the lanes. Either way, burning this down very quickly. The Drunken Haze will help out quite a bit in making this work for them, and I think they're actually going to be able to get it without much contest, but if they know about it, if Fnatic knew about it, they could easily screw things over with their big ultimates. Yeah, with very careful play from Keita, I think they could still manage it. I like the Link Dagger Force Staff build on Magnus. I mean, it's pretty strong still. It is a very good option if you sort of want positioning. Sorry, I had a brain fart there in the middle of my sentence. It gives the ultimate in positioning. It's like Force Staff Blink Dagger Bat Rider. You know that you can get in and get out, or you can get in and then get even more in. And of course, Magnus is the pseudo blink on Skewer as well, so your positioning becomes essentially perfect.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. There's a couple of things that I want to hit on, and I'm trying to think of what would be the best one at the moment. Right now, I kind of think there's a lot of things that the current aspect of F4L and the Nature's Prophet is bringing to the table. Because their lanes weren't screwed over entirely, like the rotations that were required from Keita made it so that the Lone Druid still found his farm, and a couple of other things really worked out for them. I really think the F4L and the Nature's Prophet is now forcing a lot of response from Keita. Right now, I was talking about the fact that Phantom Lancer is not going to have detection. It's because not only gold, but also because of item slots. In this situation, he needed this Quelling Blade for an extended period of time because he was so terrified of Sprout locking him in place. He also needed a TP scroll so he could respond to places that were beginning pushed in and farm, because that's what happens when you're up against a Lone Druid and a Prophet. They're always going to be continuously pushing in. So with those two, it was using up a lot of item slots, and obviously detection is just another thing that they force out. Sentry is required on the Bane, and that's, I mean, all they have to offer, but still, it's very, very important to be able to lock down and make sure Shadowblade doesn't mean an auto get-out-of-jail-free card. In this position here, we do see a good smoke maneuver. This could be big. F4L is going to get ganked up. They're going to start off with this Fiend's Grip on F4L, but here comes the Cavalry. Actually, they did TP one away, so I'm not sure if it's going to be good enough. No, actually, instead of a bait, it's just going to be one thrown away. And actually, the Lone Druid getting picked off as well on that top lane, getting dropped down specifically by the Phantom Lancer himself.
Yeah, no, overall, I think that's really, really strong for Keita. They take away both these pushers, and whenever the pushers are down, as Keita, it's like, oh man, Hannah.
Oh, bad. Big Shackle coming out. That's Flox just setting it up 100%, and this is bad. This is the opposite of what they were looking for, not only obviously because they died, but in this situation, no, they were actually trying to do the exact kind of a very similar thing on the opposite side of the map. They were going on in Smoke Gank ×3 with Darkseer, with Magnus, and with Shadow Shaman. They were using F4L as bait down on this bot lane. They were trying to put pressure out there. I don't know why I can't draw on the map, whatever. But anyways, they were trying to make that happen. They were trying to swoop on in and dish out that damage and actually pick off somebody using the Nature's Prophet's bait. But meanwhile, two-man gank between the Windrunner and the Phantom Lancer, bringing down the Lone Druid just between the two of them, and immediately they lose one of their three gankers. The Darkseer has the TP to respond. He, of course, gets picked off by being shackled down, but because they didn't have that third individual, they were less exuberant about going down in that bottom lane, and instead, the Keeper of the Light, the Bane, the Brewmaster, the remaining three heroes of Keita, just focus down F4L and beat the crap out of him to the point that
just has to run. He sees PL and he just turns tail and runs immediately.
Yeah,
which is smart, honestly. Keita, there was a trouble spot that popped open when they lost their tier 3s. But they're plugging those holes effectively so far and really throwing a lot of pressure back on Fnatic. Obviously, if they can kill the Lone Druid and the Nature's Prophet, it's going to be amazing. But even when they're up, they're doing a good job of just counter-pushing these lanes. And the Phantom Lancer, with the series of kills that he picked up in the last sort of 5-ish minutes, all of a sudden is just a terror. He's actually very close to Heart of Durask, 800 gold away.
I thought
he
has
has 2 minutes left on his. He has 2 minutes left on his Aegis, but still. Sorry, what's up?
No, sorry, I counted his math wrong. But yeah, in 200 gold, he'll have that hard, and then he'll just be so darn difficult to kill in any respect. They don't have Maelstroms, they don't have any real cleave other than the Empower, and it seems like he's going to be able to pretty much have his way with anything, and that's with Boots of Travels up. So he's doing that counter push. He's being all over the map, just like Nature's Prophet, and he's being just as much of a thorn in their side. In this position here, Lone Druid cannot go in for backdoors, neither can Nature's Prophet. The MKB helps, but no, they have to actually push out the wave directly, and that's very projected in how Keita can respond.
So Empower MKB is actually very effective for cleave on the Lone Druid. What I would like to see from Fnatic is cleave on the Nature's Prophet as well. So I would love for him to make Maelstrom next. I think that would be good. The only problem is I don't know if that's actually enough.
Yeah.
They might need more. And Brewmaster, he recently finished his Aghanim Scepter as well, so Saizo going to be more effective in that respect. But I mean, this PL, this is a big PL, 600 gold per minute, just honestly getting pretty close to the I have finished farming status. He's gonna lose Aegis pretty soon. It doesn't look like they're going to push before this Aegis has expired. But Keita, they're not having any issue defending these tier 3, sub-tier 3 Raxus so far.
Yeah. All he needs is upgrade is to Diffusal to pick up a Butterfly, and yeah, he's just about at that position where he's like, screw it, I can pretty much do whatever I want, and they don't, right now Fnatic doesn't have an answer. They ran for a multi-core with Lone Druid and Nature's Prophet getting a lot of potential there, and the Shivas is a nice touch on the Darkseer, but really, they have to focus on this Phantom Lancer so hard, and in a fair fight, they really seem like they're going to be behind unless they get the best polarity vacuum combo they possibly can.
I like the Shivas. It's a good pickup. They need more AoE. They need the slow. But Keita actually smoking up.
Yeah.
They'll try to loop around Fnatic here, I guess, because they know where Fnatic are.
Yeah, absolutely. But now they're moving on. Yeah, they have the Dire Ward. They fully understand exactly what's coming on. This push is going to go on that top lane extremely quickly. And actually, maybe the Courier's hasted for the moment.
Maglev's
bringing down a Blink Dagger for the Shadow Shaman, actually. So that'd be really nice for them. But right now, they're swooping on in. They know that the enemy has no idea. They're not going to go for the Courier. It's a waste of time. They're instead going to go and look for some big kills.
Steph Style made a move for it. Oh, man. I think Fnatic just spotted them out.
It's close.
No, they haven't.
No, they still saw the ward spawn. They just saw the ward spawn out of nowhere. They have to realize.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so this is going to be very delicate. Fnatic's fortified. Maglev, keep in mind, he has
Down bottom lane.
He will join this fight.
Tier 3 is already gone. They recall him back, but the illusion's still going to wail away to bring down the racks quickly. We see the initiation Brewmaster coming through, but gets Orchided up.
Orchid.
He can't primal split. There's big damage coming out from the Darkseer, but it's not there just yet. Reverse polarity onto 2, but the Bane's still channeling that Fiend's Grip.
No.
Will
Drew's
go
dead.
through all the way. Nice wall of replica going across, doing a lot of damage here. Radiant actually pulling this through pretty nicely, but Brew survives long enough to get the primal split off, doing a lot of damage to that Illuminate. Big going across. Maglev still in the front line, still wailing away, brings down Mojo Stormstout. And from here, the team fight is breaking apart. Oh, they're just going for the racks. Smurf just wailing away on these racks, now on the Panda Bears, but need to finish things off and just get out of dodge. Smurf on the run, gets mana leaked up though, and I think he will be locked in place just a little too long. He gets finished off. They get the Nature's Prophet out, but they lose all 4 heroes for 1 single racks.
Wow. Good buyback by Keeper of the Light, too, in the middle of all that. It was really good to get Steph Style back in there. And the problem is, Fnatic got a Rax, but they lost 2.
2, yeah.
Oh, man. Have they missed their window? I
think
feel like they may have.
I feel like when they were desperately trying to do some damage to the racks and the top and bottom were hit on in, they dropped down the Shadow Shaman wards, which couldn't do anything whatsoever. They fed some gold away there, and then the Nature's Prophet Trents took maybe not even half the Rax's HP. At that moment, since Keita responded so well and was able to lose nothing permanent, just the tier 3s, from there, it was their game to lose. Because at that very, very moment, that was where Phantom Lancer got enough farm to pick up on his next big item and moved in, so that they have been fearless in every single 5v5 engage. And now that Maglev has those BOTs, he's a monster, a terror all over the map, and we just saw that on bottom lane.
He is a monster and a terror. I totally agree with you, Blaze. And I've been extremely impressed by Maglev pretty much all of these Keita games. He's been excellent, and he, I think, is the most recent addition to this team, and frankly, hidden talent here. I mean, this guy's been excellent. He's very survivable, good positioning, contributes to team fights in a huge way, and farms well.
Yeah, extremely well. And
I mean, he's 10-0 in this game. 10-0 and 8 for that matter. He's been part of most of their kills and has the most farm on the map by a dramatic margin against a Midas Nature's Prophet. I mean,
yeah, extremely, extremely fed. And this stage.
Oh man, Hannah.
Oh, wow. That's not a place to be. Mana Leak to Fuseled, taking so much damage here. He's not going to be able to get on out. The Shackle comes on through. Big damage going across, and that's going to lock him in place. And now they just walk away. They go very, very swiftly and TP on out to safety. Actually, yeah, there is this movement from Nature's Prophet. F4L, trying to make something happen, perhaps. Could be moving in towards that Keeper of the Light, but not going to find him just yet. And instead, just kind of... No, he will see him here. He gets the Orchid off, and he will get some big right clicks here. Will he be able to finish him off? Yeah, with that Sprout. The Force Staff comes through, though. Will the Orchid be enough right here? Not enough damage. TP attempt. But the vision from the Trents, he will fall in the end. In this position here, though, they have 3 men moving up towards top. They're not afraid of Darkseer just yet. Buyback is unavailable, and they're going to move in for the kill.
I don't think they necessarily need to. They're just going to push this lane in a little bit.
Slow push with the illusions is probably the best bet here. I'm not sure why he didn't Manta.
Right. The Keeper of the Light is fairly important to this plan, actually. So they're not going to push probably without Steffi Style.
Because one big thing is the Phantom Lancer is so darn fed, but one thing we haven't highlighted on is the potential for buyback and plus recall. If Phantom Lancer can just save up enough money to buy back into the fight, he can just continuously be such a nuisance, continuously build up those illusions, and just dish out so much damage to the point that even when he dies, that's not the end of the fight.
Right. I think this Hyperstone on the Bear probably still Cuirass. What do you think?
I mean, the Mjolnir would be nice.
It would be nice,
but he's a while really could benefit a lot as far as an armor aura for their team. They don't have a Vlad's, I know that. What about a Basilius? Do they even have that? Doesn't look like it.
They've had one on Nature's Prophet. Oh no, no longer.
So yeah, they don't have any armor aura whatsoever other than using the mechanism.
That's why I'm saying probably the Cuirass still good. They're gonna try to sneak a Roche.
That's not gonna work. Phantom Lancer already in. Says hello to Mr. Bear. What's going on over here? Hey, there's an entire army, but he does get hexed. They do get some good initiation. That Entangle comes on through, but there's the initiation. CISO jumping on in. There is the attempt of that RP underneath the wall. Floxflock taking so much damage. Maglev gonna drop possibly just in a moment. A couple more right clicks go his way, and he will in the end fall. Primal Split doing a lot of damage here, but the Phantom Lancer jumping back on into it. Just TPs to the tier 2 to get back into the fray. Hannah Montana was Fiend script up, will be finished off. F4L probably as well. Shadowblade not going to be up soon enough, and instead they're looking to finish off Smurf here. He gets hexed, he gets destroyed, and here so many buybacks pop by Fnatic.NA, getting another hugely lost fight, and the Roshan should fall to Keita.
It took too long to get the first kill on this Phantom Lancer. It can't be possible to get your first kill on a PL at 40 minutes in. He's too freaking big.
Yeah. That is just too much. I mean, even in the middle of that fight, he took a long time to fall. That was he had the evasion, and it was doing work there. He, of course, had the heart to keep him alive. They were doing what they could, but in general, it just wasn't sufficient. So that is literally his first death in the game.
Here from F4L. He's going to try to get this Rax. I don't know if he can get it, though.
I feel if he doesn't actually finish the building off itself, that it's accomplishing very little in the end.
No, it absolutely didn't accomplish anything, and that's the rest of the butterfly for Maglev, and he has Aegis. I gotta say, I feel like Fnatic have been checkmated, essentially.
Yeah, essentially. It's definitely check, and we'll just have to see if they pull it out for the full mate. I mean, always an opportunity to throw in Dota 2, but nevertheless, in this position here...
It's gonna be tough.
Phantom Lancer is amazing. I mean, level 25, his agility is at about... Oh, wow, now with the butterfly finish, he just jumped up to 225 agility. Wow. So...
Yo, Blaze, gotta call you out real quick. Check out Windrunner's inventory and what tier of boots she has. Boosh. Destroyed.
Why don't you she should just get a Yules and a Sanjanyasha instead of boots, and then she'll
That's true. Drop the boots, get Sanjanyasha and Yules. I actually adore this idea. I think it's very, very good.
Good
the
mobility.
Problem is her base movement speed's really bad, so percentage-based movement speed additions aren't that good for her.
No, not at all. But, no, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Rushing out the Scythe is really, really good, but I don't know.
I think it's a big deal. It's more anti-bear stuff, because frankly, F4L, he's got good damage, actually. This Nature's Prophet's pretty big, 271 auto attack, but no AoE. The bear is their AoE solution, and power will not magically give Nature's Prophet AoE damage. It doesn't work on ranged heroes that way. It'll only add a percentage.
Yeah.
So if the bear's shut down, which this addition of the Sheepstick makes it very easy to do, Fnatic won't be able to clear out those PL illusions. Their only hope is to initiate on the PL and kill him before it gets illusions, which, good freaking luck with a Butterfly Aegis Manta Heart.
Right now, the bear is the only one that can guarantee right-clicks on top of him with that Monkey King bar, but it's not accomplishing enough right here. I mean, it does a good chunk of damage, but it's certainly not enough to deal with a Heart PL directly, and at this stage, it's getting worse and worse, to the point that they're all pushed inside their base. They've, of course, lost their bottom racks, and now there's only one... tier 2 tower in the mid lane. F4L is trying to push out as best he can.
I like this.
Has the global teleport to push back. He's just trying to force them to do anything other than go in for the kill right now, and they are actually forcing a TP back, so well done.
Yes, absolutely. F4L, they need... Their only hope lies in the split push, is pressuring, making sure that Keita never actually finds the opportunity to push in, and just winning that way. Problem is, they're dealing with a Boots of Travel Phantom Lancer. They're also dealing with a Keeper of the Light that can recall that Phantom Lancer to himself. So those two things together make it... It's still a tenable proposition to do the split push, but difficult. Oh, F4L...
Where's it at? Oh, up top, Fiend's Grip comes on through. Yeah, there's no hope for him in this position, and everybody else is just going to have to walk away. Smurf knows that he cannot rescue his ally, and from there, he is just pretty much toast. There is no buyback on the Nature's Prophet, so, you know, that's going to be bad. It's not only just gold, but it is also the timer. So either way, it wasn't the fact that he wasn't saving long enough. It was just the fact that he himself wasn't able to. Actually, it does look like he has gold.
For PL.
But
Fnatic are going to race, it looks like.
This is pretty much their last hope. They might as well. You never underestimate a bear when it comes down to a base trade. They can go on through, and big damage coming out. The bear does have Empower active, Battlecry as well, but they're going right now for the tier 3s. Meanwhile, tier 3's taking a lot of hits. It looks like they'll just leave it, and they can take the racks, let the creeps do the work. Either way, yeah, fortified. They pop off a couple more TPs, and they're going in to get some kills as a result. Hannah Montana is in easy pickings right here. Pops off everything he has, but he dies immediately after the fact. Down at bottom, damage coming in with the Enfeeble active on the Spirit Bear, though they can't finish it off, and instead they just try to walk away. Super long shackle flying on through, but
that's too bad. That was really smart. Everything Fnatic did there actually was super smart, and with the Nature's Prophet alive, that could have been really good. The problem is the Nature's Prophet was not alive, so they don't quite get the Raxes. That is the last tier 3 Blaze. These are now all naked Raxes, and Keita, let's keep in mind, didn't get the Rax there. They had to go back.
There's
Because,
really nothing to stop them here, though, is my opinion.
No, there's not a lot. I was going to say, one of the nice things for Fnatic there was that the ultimate ran out on Keeper of the Light, so he couldn't recall PL back. So they had to use the PL boots rather than the PL recall. But the problem is they still have about a minute and a half on Aegis. So this push... What do you do as Fnatic against this push?
I mean, you can't. The problem is the split push is no longer an option. You look at the lanes; they're pushed out halfway at the very least on both top and bottom. In this position here, you have to turtle on the mid. You have to try to make that reverse polarity vacuum work for you. But in this position, it seems not to have worked all game long, and I don't see why that would change in this scenario here. They're going to go for it, but they've already lost so much. The poke and prod, just a lance is flying out. Look at these illusions battling out against the bear. They're just distracting him while he goes for his primary target, bring down this tier 3 quickly. Blocks is kind of getting picked off, but forced after way to safety. Not going to be an issue. The reverse polarity canceled out here. He knows he can't get anything out of it, and here's the sheep stick. So locking him down, they finish off the mag. As far as buyback goes, he's one of the few that doesn't have it available, and instead, they're going to take these racks completely. So this is pretty much good game.
Yeah. Oh, man. I actually was about to praise him for the cancel, but then he died immediately, and I was like, oh, man, I bet he doesn't feel too good about that cancel now, because, of course, no buyback for MSS, and this is going to be megas for Keita. Nice vac there, last-ditch effort from Hannah Montana, but this Phantom Lancer, this freaking Phantom Lancer is just blowing everybody apart. 8,500 gold and the Rampage. It's going to be the double Rampage. We're going to see the second Rampage.
Wow.
The second Rampage has hit Fnatic's Fountain in 2 seconds.
He's Tefusel, keep him on. There we go. I should get it. There we go.
There we are.
So that's that, and we just see the illusions just getting, like, tanking up the fountain for, like, half an hour. Meanwhile, you know, the fountain's still been attacking this entire time, but, you know. Either way, there's the good game. That's it.
Good illusion kills from Hannah Montana there. Triple kill, actually.
That initial attempt on the reverse polarity, he blinked in to a bad position to get a bad RP, and then he fixed the bad RP. I don't really want to know if I should really praise him for that. It's great that he didn't lock down on one person on a reverse polarity that wouldn't do anything, but the fact that he blinked in right then at the moment into a position that he could have capitalized 2 at best, and then he realized at the last second it would only be 1, I don't really see much out of that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think he thought he would die. Wow. Sometimes you have close Phantom Lancer games, and sometimes Phantom Lancer sometimes the hard carry spirit shines through. Phantom Lancer ends up 21-1. It says 18-1, but he had 3 own goals as well, because the Phantom Lancer illusions generated by Darkseer actually killed off 3 of Keita. So essentially 21-1. He just won't get the credit for 3.
There we go. So that's going to be it for this round here. Oh, wow. I just realized in the score screen, I'm glad I picked this up before we exited the game, there was a refresher orb on the Magnus. Yeah. And that could have been so much, but Keita just outpositioned it. They knew that they didn't have to commit S5 and in one little cluster. There was no reason for it. So. Also,
I think without a second Arcane Boots from Fun, he actually didn't have the mana to double refresher, to double RP, even with the Arcane Boots on himself.
No, I mean,
and Fun was dead.
He has the Force Staff and Ghost Scepter. That's plenty of stats, honestly.
Well, yeah, you're right. He's fine.
So he would have to use Arcane Boots twice, but he would get it off. Of course, with the quick Diffusal Blade right-click, that might change very, very quickly, but just to mention. Either way, very difficult position. Obviously, we were talking about it. There's once the Phantom Lancer had built up that hard, you see an 18-110, level 25 Phantom Lancer with a GPM of 826. You don't assume it's going to be a Radiant victory. It's going to definitely be the one that has the Phantom Lancer on their team, and in this case, obviously, that's the case here. So, kind of the last few minutes were a little bit predictable, but they fought it out to the end. Fnatic gave it the best shot. Either way, they get another chance coming up. This is a best-of-3 series, so Keita takes Game 1. We'll have to see what comes up in Game 2. Do you have any other thoughts on this match here?
No, I mean, Maglev is impressing me more and more, I gotta say. Excellent carry player. Really, really just taking the team there. He only found a death once, and that's because he was out of position. But that was the only fight in which he was out of position, and that's rare. Especially for carries. Especially for carries that end up with 18 kills. Yeah,
very true. Yeah, he put himself on the line, and the only time that he died, he had buyback, so it really didn't matter in the end. It was really, really good for them to be able to sacrifice as they needed, and in this case, just dish out so much damage. So, well played to them. I'm expecting maybe a different banding phase for Fnatic in this next round, but we'll have to see. Either way, coming up the next game, this has been Blaze and Vikramon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.